Hey y'all, welcome to Girl Meets Green. My name is Norma, your host of whatever. I'm late as hell because I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Okay, sorry. Love Island USA Season 7 reunion. You guys, I fought with every fiber of my being not to watch this. I watched, I think, the first 30 minutes and then I realized, like, I should probably be taking notes because I'm not gonna watch this twice. And then honestly, TikTok was exposing stuff. Brian and Amaya broke up. Iris and Pepe had cheated. And I was like, what is the point of watching this reunion? All of these people suck. All of these people suck. And so I was watching like YouTube videos, like YouTubers that I like to watch who review like I do. And I was like, well, I mean, I could make a video. Like I basically know what happened based off their reviews. And I fought hard for you guys. I did. Because I really wanted to get on here and be like, listen, I didn't watch it, but this is what I heard. But I bit my tongue and I watched it for you guys. We're gonna start off with honorable mentions. So like small parts of the reunion that don't necessarily like grand scheme play a role. We've got Coco's beef with Ola. So basically they bring up Coco talking in the press about girls being standoffish, and Alandria is like, you know, yeah, I didn't appreciate that. Like, of course I was gonna be, or no, they asked Coco, and Coco's like, yeah, I felt like she was standoffish when she first came in, which I get, her girls weren't there, blah, 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 blah. And then Ola's like, of course I was gonna be standoffish. Like, I don't know y'all, yeah, I'm gonna be nice and cordial, but I don't know y'all. I had just been kicked out and then brought back in, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And listen, I completely forgot I wanted to preface, dang it. We're gonna preface here. I don't support like any hate that anyone's been getting, right? Like it's a show, it's reality TV. We don't need to do all that. Like I'm gonna speak my piece and my opinion on you. I don't think people need to be hating. I don't even think we need to be putting faces on George Floyd and the cops. Like all of that is a lot. Apparently, Huda has also been put on like her face on certain Palestinian situations, like kids, graphic photos and things like that. None of that is okay. It's weird behavior. If you or who did that, go seek help. If you support that, if you thought that was funny, if you had any sort of positive reaction to that, seek therapy because it's insane that you would. So to clarify, put that out there first, like I don't condone the extreme hate and the like, we are allowed to have opinions and recite them without tearing someone down or like causing someone mental like strife that's gonna cause them to need therapy. You know, that being said, all of these people are a hot mess. Every single one of them. I am not a Huda fan, a Landry fan, a Shelly fan. Amaya, I still got a little love for her. I do. You know what? She ain't do nothing. So I do still love Amaya. But, you know, it's just everyone is trash at this point. Everyone is trash. So that being said, the heat that Coco got with this, at least specifically, I don't know what else she's been saying, whatever, doesn't make sense to me because if she in this interview said she was standoffish, Olandria's agreeing with her. So like what wrong did she really do? And then like Olandria was stuck on her saying like, oh, Taylor's my man, my man, my man. I have to agree with Coco. That was what we saw. Like, this is what I don't understand is like, she's speaking on her experience and that was her experience with you. You were standoffish and like she said, you were making it known that Taylor was your man. We watched her say like, Clark is just some test, whatever, some whoever walks into the villa and you just choose, like she did feel that way. So what are we actually being like, ooh, Coco was messy, Coco didn't need to. She was, I will say Coco was messy, but she was speaking truth. Like none of it was her just like talking shit, but she was messy and it does kind of backfire on her just because like obviously that's not the energy Shelly and Alandria are coming with, and so it backfires on her in terms of like PR and like, you know, if she is trying to be a public persona, you know, like I'm sure she's a little upset about it because she, you know, kind of could have been that like trio with Alandria and Shelly, and she wasn't. Shelly, I'm calling them Shelly inserts. There's two that I documented. I'm sure there were more, but I'm calling it Shelly insert because she jumps into any situation with Alandria to be like, yeah, and then you, me too, and I was, you know, me and Alandria were being hated on, and she's connecting herself to Alandria because people weren't huge fans of Shelly, right? Shelly and Ace were voted bottom, like, and by association with Ace, she's kind of on the same plane as him, even if she may not be, which to me it seems like she is. And so she tried to like parallel herself to Alandria, right? To kind of like, maybe not intentionally, but to come out, you know, like, yeah, just like we feel for Alandria, now we feel for Shelly type shit. Because she inserts herself in this. And again, if you were being standoffish, you were being standoffish. And the thing is, we cannot deny that Coco probably was treated funnily by these women. Reasonably so, because obviously Coco was matched up with Ace. She was friends with Clark. She obviously, being a Casa girl, would be more on board with Clark and Taylor than Taylor and Olandria. So the things she's saying come from that space, and also hold truth that those girls probably weren't super nice to her. Like, why are we, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that we would like bring it up and be like calling it out, and that people are like in agreement with the whole situation. She messy, sure, but I wouldn't be like, oh, she's wrong in this. You know, I think you get what I'm trying to say. And then Alandria also brings Vanna into this, claiming that Vanna was also making comments, etc., etc. What I liked about the way Vanna addressed it is she was like, you have to be careful with these interviews. They leave the good stuff out. She's like, because yes, that's what you saw, but I also after that stated, because I think, what was it that Vanna said? I can't remember what she said about Ola, but that like she followed it up with like, but I didn't know her. She owed me nothing, da-da-da-da, which I honestly, I want to believe her that they probably cut out whatever little nice thing she said. But yeah, also it's like, once again, are we going to pretend that they probably weren't standoffish? Like, we're going to be like, no, they were the sweetest of them. No, they weren't. These were women coming to take their men. And if there's anything we noted about this season is that it turned into freaking Friendship Island, because they were all like holding on to each other and trying to keep each other on the show instead of doing the whole finding love thing that they were supposed to be doing. We've got Zach and Brian. Zach is on video, and basically they ask him about the things he was saying about Brian on live. Brian is like, yeah, he said that I was in it for the money. And Zach is like, no, I didn't say that. And Brian's like, yeah, you should go check on that. And then they also said about Zach only being cool with Amaya when he realized she was a favorite, blah, blah, blah. And there's like a 30% of me that's like, yeah, valid, probably. The other 70%, honestly, I just think he was trying to stay in the house, which everyone was trying to do. Like, why is he getting shit for it? Elin did the same thing. Mr. like, I love tacos. You know, like everyone was trying to stay to win. Like, let's be for real. No one goes on this show, you know what I mean? Like, without intent. Sure, they might be like, yeah, I want to find love, but I also want to win. You know? So yeah, I don't know that it was like 100%. He just was like, oh, she's a people's princess, and now I'm gonna want her. I think he was trying to stay in the house, and that's just so happens that the person he had that previous connection with was the people's princess. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was a little bit of everything. I enjoy Zach because he's so genuine. Okay, if there's one thing I love about Zach and Amaya have this similarity, the unfilteredness, right? Like, real people who gain platforms and they are just truly 100% authentically themselves. And you always are like, this person has no filter. Like, they need to watch what they're saying. Like, they don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, you need a PR rep. Like, you need to chill. But also, you love that about them because it's so, like, genuine and authentic. But, yeah, so that's the beef. Brian was just kind of like, whatever. And honestly, fuck you, Brian. He was right. Zach was right. Because what the fuck is this? We'll get to it. But Zach was right. Austin and Jaden, they get brought up. I guess they left as a couple, like exclusive or something. And they were supposed to date out in the outside world. She asked him, like, hey, it's okay if you're with other people, just let me know. She feels like he didn't let her know. He feels like they didn't leave. They left as a couple, but they didn't leave like as a real world couple. So he didn't see that he needed to be like, I'm going on a date now. I'm going on a date now with this person. Hey, I'm going to talk to this person now. So I can see both sides. I can see where he's like, we weren't anything official, so I didn't think I had to be like letting you know my every move. And I can see where she is like, you should have just clarified, like, hey, I'm doing me. So feel free to do you. I am interested in getting to know you, but like, that's as far as this is gonna go, you know? But I get it. Then we bring up the fact that Huda was the one who wrote the Grayson thing for the stand-on business, and kind of just being like, oh, how did Pepe and Grayson feel about that, all of that. And Pepe basically was just like, he just felt bad about how hurt she was by it. And then we have Huda who says, like, I didn't know it was going to hurt her that bad. Like, I didn't know that shit was going to cause what it caused. And I believe her. I mean, I think you should have just been like, that was me in that moment. Like, hey, that was me. I'm so sorry, Grayson. I truly didn't think it would cause this. I'm so sorry. I literally was just trying to like call out what I was seeing in the challenge. I thought it would be a fun way. I didn't realize how invested your feelings were. Done. She kind of does that now, but also something I hate about Huda, which is funny that she's calling Jeremiah a love bomber, because she tends to love bomb everyone around. You know, I love you so much. I love you so much. She said, I know I did that, but I love you, and you know that. You know, and then the person's like, yeah, I love you too. Like, yeah, it's cool, we're good. You know, like they're like forced to just kind of be like, okay, like they're not forced because we're all adults, but you get what I'm saying. It's a little bit manipulative when that person is rightfully allowed to be upset, but you are like in their face, like, I love you, you know I love you, you know I didn't mean that, you know I love you, and you're almost kind of forced to be like, I know, it's fine. My last little honorable mention is Andreina and Brian, and basically Andreina just tries to, they bring up like, oh, Andreina, how did you feel about Brian calling you boring? And one thing I love about Andreina, okay, like, no skin off her back. That girl has lost zero confidence in this whole process. And I love that for her. Because that whole, like, I'm taking your man. And then everyone was like, she took nobody's man. And I think it was Speedy who interviewed her and commented on that. And she was like, I know, that's hilarious. Can you believe it? Like, and she was laughing about it. Like, she was so unaffected. And I love that about her. And so in this moment, they say that. And she's like, actually, he said he didn't call me boring. He said our conversations were boring. And Brian, where are you? She goes, I would agree with that. And I was like, period. We love a confident queen. She's like, no, he didn't call me that. He said our conversations were, and I would agree. So now, you know, it's like they could both be boring. Who knows? But yeah, she says her only issue with Brian was that he wasn't clear about how interested he was in Jaden. She's like, yes, when I came to him and said, hey, I'm going to talk to Pepe, he said, yeah, I'll probably talk to Jaden. She's like, but that didn't. She wanted like an actual conversation of like, just so you know, I am interested in Jaden and I am going to pursue that interest. Because then she would have expected when the elimination came and people were standing behind them, he's not going to stand behind me, he's talking to so-and-so. But she's standing up there counting on her match's vote. Because yeah, we're just friends, but like, you haven't told me you have any other interest, so I'm thinking you coming behind me. Let's get into the main stuff. Main couples. We have Huda and Chris. And essentially, like, they're asked, you know, like, how has everything been since then? And Huda's like, oh, like, you know, there's nothing but love, like, from my side, whatever. And then basically Chris says how, like, he doesn't like how she was moving, the things he was saying about her in interviews, specifically the Call Her Daddy interview, and that it was fake. And, you know, he's like, we're not cool. He's like, and she had a month to clarify that, reach out, apologize, whatever. She waited until a few days before the reunion. We all know what that is, right? How often on Love is Blind are people like, yep, and then a couple days before today, they hit me up trying to, you know, connect the dots, get on the same page, or like be cordial, shit like that. So weird move of her, weird move. And then when they ask like how it feels to be there in each other's presence, she's like, I'm good. And he's like, weird. And she looks at him like, he's like, yeah, weird. It's weird. She's like, I'm good. Like, yeah, of course you are, girl, because you're not the one like receiving what he's received off of the shit you're saying. You know, not that we love Chris, because I'm honestly not a big fan of him either. We have Iris and Pepe. They are exclusive, but not official. Pepe says how they both have different definitions of dating. To him, it's like, yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, we're together. To her, it's like you have to ask someone to be their boyfriend. This shit makes no freaking sense. And this is a pattern literally with all these couples. I don't think they ever ask Amaya and Brian for clarification. They could have, and I missed it. But literally all these couples are like, no, we're not together. We are in love, though. Or like, I don't want to be with anyone else. We're exclusive. That makes no fucking sense. Like, either you're a couple or you're not. Like, what? Huh? And Ace specifically, but we'll get there. Brian and Amaya, first thing called out is Brian's little, like, pouring liquor into people's mouths. He's like, I had a lapse in judgment. We talked about it. Like, I used to bartend there. They, like, paid me to be there. You know, I was just doing my promotional thing. But we talked about it. We're good. And Amaya's just like, her poor little self is just like laughing the entire time. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, Maya, please. My love, stand up. What I would have loved to see was when that shit happened, Amaya cut ties with him. And when she got on this reunion, she was like, I love myself. It was clear that he is not in the space he was in on the island, and so we've moved on. I hate that she like got on here in defense of him, and then they're broken up immediately after the reunion. Like, it makes no, like, what? Huh? In her defense, I feel like what possibly happened was what he said, right? Last Judgment, we talked about it. That's how she felt. It was like, yeah, we talked about it. He didn't actually cheat. He like, that looked disrespectful, but like, that's as far as it went, right? In her head. My guess, because I think the reunion, we saw it a week after they filmed it. And so I would guess someone hit her up with the coming to you as a woman type shit or something. Because I don't know how she would go from like, yeah, we're together, we're fine, to like, hey guys, we've broken up, unless he broke up with her, which is also a possibility. But yeah, I wish that she had just saw it for what it was and moved right along. Because even before the whole bottle pouring thing, there were allegations that he was cheating. And it's like, where there's smoke, there's fire. Let it go. But I would have loved that for her, to just see her be like, I'm me, I'm gonna keep being me, and he clearly ain't trying to be with me, you know. But it is what it is. It went how it went, I guess. Shelly and Ace, they're perfect for each other. Truly, they're perfect for each other. Ace is just a weirdo, like, and then they ask, like, so are you guys official? And she's like, I'll let you answer that. And he's like, you know, no. She was like, you want to, okay, I can answer that. She's like, you know, Ace is one for big grand gestures. And so, you know, I love that. So that's kind of where we're at. And they're like, Ace, do you have anything planned? He's like, yeah, you know, I got something up my sleeve. Mm-hmm. No, the fuck he doesn't. No, the fuck he doesn't. This shit is weird. He's like, yeah, and she'll be your first girlfriend, right? He's like, yeah, my first and my last. And he's like, hey, Ace, do you love Shelly? Yeah, I do. So what is it? Like, how to make it make sense to me? An entire month. And he still hasn't grand gestured the asking her to be his girlfriend, but he's in love with her. Like, I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And then for you to say all that in the reunion, and still weeks later, there's been no grand gesture of asking to be his girlfriend. It's weird. Like, I think they just be saying shit to look good. Because what are you guys doing? I don't know. I think Shelly might look at this differently in a little bit. I don't see them lasting. I'm going to be really real with you. That man is 23, 22, 23. So that is a child, a man-child. And she's 28. So let's be for real. Ola and Nick, PR relationship. That's it. That's all. I know, Nicolandriettes, chill. You're free to have your opinions and love them to death in your Delulu world. This is a PR couple. They never speak of each other in romantic terms. The only thing that I heard them say in this reunion was Olandria saying, everything I want to do, like he's making it come true. I made a list. He's made my list come true. We've done X, we've done Y, we've done Z. It's a PR relationship. Why wouldn't he make this shit happen when it's like, I want to be a model? And so he goes and models with you. That is beneficial to him too. Like, this is a transactional friendship. You cannot convince me otherwise. We get the Huda, Chris, and Shelly debacle addressed. They show us like the extended footage of Huda saying how like, hey, I'll bring him back for you and for me, for you and for me. Even she ends up being like, I'm so happy for you, girl. And for me too, and for him. Like, okay, basically it is crystal clear that this woman was clear of her intentions for her to explore him too. So like, whatever Shelly's mad at, it never makes sense to me ever, because like, she made it clear, and Shelly's trying to be like, yeah, but you kept saying like, so happy for you, so happy for you, so happy. Okay, because she's happy for you that he's here and you get to explore him too. You chose not to. Like, that's the thing. In the show, she's, you know, like telling Chris like, oh yeah, you didn't stand on business, like, you know, da 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 da. And it's like, he was making you food, actively trying to talk to you. You're stuck in your like conversations and situation with Ace. So what did you expect him to do? Like, you were too busy trying to like placate Ace's ego, because obviously Ace is like, I picked you over Coco, and here you are, like, he's still here and you're still here, and oh my god, like, I don't get it, I'm ready to give up. I mean, Ace is ready to give up and throw in the towel, and his boys were like, no, you know, like, give it her time, like, she's got to explore whatever. This probably should have been an honorable mentions, but whatever. We do get Hannah. They talk about her and Charlie being voted off, and Charlie's just like, I was just the easy option, which is true. That really is all it was. Hannah talks about, like, the reason she was crying and so emotional the way we saw it is because she felt that it was her fault he was sent home because she kissed Pepe, right? So it's like, okay, their connection's not that strong, he could go type shit. And then her and Pepe, she's like, Pepe was there for me in those emotions, and so that made it tricky because then emotions developed in that, right? It's that like trauma bonding type of thing. Obviously, they weren't like literally trauma bonding, but it's like he was there for me and now I like him. You feel me? And yeah, and then, you know, she says it's all love with Iris. They, after the villa, they got together and her and Iris connected. They're really beautiful friends, and she thinks Iris and Pepe are great together. If that's what they want, they look happy, they're smiling. Essentially, she says how, like, when she left, she kind of told herself, right? Like, I understand how quick things move. I mean, it happened with her, like, with Charlie and then, like, moving on to Pepe. So I think her head was like, it could happen there, so I'm not holding on to nobody. I'm having fun. And it's clear she navigated that very, very well. And we love her. And then they also bring up, they show the footage of the girls making the decision. And, you know, she just says, like, she loves everyone and how the public wants her to be mad at them. But, like, she built such a bond with everyone. And she's just such a beautiful, like, woman. And I hate that for her a little bit. Because, like, these people just smile. Oh, yeah, that's Hannah. She's so sweet. Like, you literally could have been like, you know what? That was the wrong call. To me, it was the wrong call. Love Island is about finding a connection. So regardless of what happened with her before with Charlie and Pepe and whatever, her and Pepe clearly had a strong connection. They all said that. So if you're asking me, Amaya should have been sent home. And I love Amaya. I do. But at that point, she didn't have a strong connection. I think, did Iris? No, I don't think Iris did either, did she? Or was she already paired up with TJ by that point? I think she might have already been paired up with TJ. I'm not sure. But either way, either Iris or Amaya should have gone over Hannah. Premise of the show. Huda laughs at her toxicity. They show her whole like process with Jeremiah and all the shit she said and how she yelled and shit. They asked Jeremiah if he felt it was toxic. He says yes. Jeremiah proceeds to clear every one of them little hoes who was saying he was love bombing. And he's like, love bombing requires intent. She's like, no, it doesn't. You can unintentionally love bomb, blah, blah, blah. He's like, how could I have love bombed you? One, you were telling me you love me twice within like 3 days. He's like, two, I kept asking you, like, am I doing too much? Am I doing too much? And you're saying no. So like, how would I be love bombing you if I'm actively asking you if I'm doing too much? He's like, and three, you kept saying I wasn't doing enough also. So I don't understand how I could be love bombing, like how all three of those could be true and I'm love bombing you. Like, it just doesn't make sense. She's like, yeah, it just, when I felt like you were love bombing, you were love bombing. And when I did it, you weren't. Is essentially what she's getting at. Like, huh? And Jeremiah is literally like, does that make sense to everyone? Ace, does that make sense to you? And Ace turns that into like, you were making comments about how you just wanted following, you just wanted to win, blah, 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 blah. And Jeremiah is essentially like, dude, I was like making jokes amongst my boys. I think Nick even is like, yeah, it was jokes. And Taylor, I think a few people were like, yeah, no, he was making jokes. Taylor, I think, says like, yeah, no, like you made the comment about Andreina, and like how, oh, you weren't gonna let anyone talk to her because you were gonna talk to her the whole time. And he's like, Taylor, you knew that was a joke. Don't do that. Like, don't try to flip that into something else. Which, period. Taylor is Ace's little hunchman. We thought Nick was, but that's also cleared up here. So we love that for him. But yeah, and then Huda tries to say she's grown, and I think it's Andy who clears her and is like, in a month, you grew and you're completely different, which is not true because she's sitting there laughing, watching herself. Personally, if I grow from something and I'm like, I hate that I did that, you will never catch me laughing at it. If someone was able to show me a video of it, I would not laugh at it. Jeremiah notes that when he realized the toxicity, like, because obviously after the villa, he definitely saw it, but he says in the villa, the whole pancake situation is what woke him up, because he was like, you know, she's like, Taylor, thank you, and trying to get me to see that another man made her a pancake. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to like actually look at this situation for what it is. And he saw it for what it was. Like I mentioned, Nick was against sending Jeremiah home. We're showing the footage of them discussing, and Nick is basically like, if there's any chance that Jeremiah and Andreina have a connection, he should stay. So Nick felt like Austin should have left. It's also worth noting, although I don't want to, that Hannah and Jeremiah were like the bottom when people voted, so they would have been sent home anyways, in which case you should have just let that be what sends them home. But I guess that wouldn't have been enough drama. Charlie calls out Ace, because basically throughout all of that I just mentioned, Ace is trying to say that like Jeremiah was the strategic one and he was making comments and yada yada yada. They ask Ace about being, you know, the ringleader, and he's like, I'm a man, I voiced my opinion, and yeah, if you want to call me that, whatever. And he's saying to Austin, right, like, you call me the little ringleader, and Austin's like, I think you added that adjective. And Austin's basically like, that's just how it seemed like he had a voice and people listened and followed. And Charlie is basically like, yeah, I kind of felt like you were walking around asking like, who's your connection? Who are you going to chat with today? What are you going to do? But you weren't offering up that information at the same level. And that's when my eyes opened and I was like paying attention and like noticing that. And I was like, Charlie, call out his stuff, Charlie. Yes, Charlie. Because yeah. And all the other little ancient dudes not wanting to stand up against Ace. Like, you're weird. Taylor, you're weird. Nick is weird too, because when Nick is asked, he'll state truth. But like, stand the fuck up. We have a part where Ace is saying that like Amaya is against bullying, blah blah blah, but she condoned, I think on the Call Her Daddy, right, thing, that's something about a joke about his height, and he's like, and you condone that. She's like, I messaged you, told you I was trying to get that taken down. Like, that's not what I stand for, obviously. And hindsight, yeah, I shouldn't have let that slide. She owes you nothing. You were like so freaking shitty to her in the villa, and the fact that Shelly's like putting her arm on him, like his hand covered, like she owes him nothing. Like, regardless of that, he apologized and it's like my sister now. No. You don't get like this and all of this, because you don't get to treat someone badly and then expect them to like treat you up here. Like, that makes no freaking sense. And okay, let's continue. Ola calls out Huda, basically saying that she never addressed the hate, and Ola was asking her to, and she didn't. She says, I showed you the George Floyd thing, and Huda's like, I was going through my own stuff. I was experiencing racism, like, blah, blah, blah. Should Huda have made a statement? I think yes. I think if Ola truly was her, like, if Olandria was truly her friend, she would have made that statement. However, because of course, we got another Shelly insert where Shelly inserts herself here. She's like, yeah, people were saying stuff about me and Alandria and you didn't speak up for either of us. Something about meeting her daughter. Like, girl, you're doing far too much. Once again, if Alandria was truly her friend, she should have made a statement. But if we're going to say that about Huda, then we would say it about Alandria and Shelly as well, since she wants to insert herself. If Huda is also experiencing hate, her face is being put on pictures too. Everyone should have made a statement. Did everyone make a statement? No. Like, and that's where I'm just like, what are we actually talking about? And once again, like I just said about Ace with Amaya, Huda owes Shelly nothing. Shelly in the show herself said, like, we're not cool, like, we're good. And that just irritated me. All these people fake as hell, all these relationships fake as hell, and I am beyond over it. Lastly, they do show the whole dancing on footage, and it was that Huda fake licked his crotch through the pants. Honestly, I still stand by how I felt during the show, which is like, she didn't do anything wrong. Like, they all said, they all consented to, it could get as crazy as anyone wanted. There were no boundaries set. Like Ira said, she's like, it was a lack of boundaries, which caused misunderstandings. At the end of the day, people could say, if that was Jeremiah, all they want, but Huda made it clear, like, don't fuck with my man. Shelly didn't do that. Shelly was still trying to explore Chris too. So you cannot be like, well, it was just a respect thing, and if I'm your friend, no, I don't know your boundaries. You have to tell me them. So if everyone is saying we consent to whatever, let's get crazy, you don't get to be mad at me after if you didn't step, like, you could have came to me separately and been like, hey, just not Ace. I'm not quite comfortable with that. Also, we get footage where Chris is literally doing the same thing to Shelly, kissing in her thighs, face in the cooch. So what are we actually talking about here? Let's be real. I'm sorry. Anywho, that's all I have for you guys. This shit was miserable. I'm so happy this season is over. I kind of wish I'd watched season 6 first, because like, I probably will never watch it because of this season, and I will never watch this show again. This is too much for me, especially if I'm trying to review it for the people. Anyways, like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below any thoughts you had about this mess. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.